Jet fighters get all the glory, the headlines, the movies, the arguments online, the F-35, the F-22. The world cannot stop watching them. But that obsession created a blind spot. And inside that blind spot, the U.S. military was quietly doing something nobody was paying attention to. Something older, something bigger, something far more dangerous. If you want to find out how a bomber the world completely forgot about just became the most feared strike aircraft on the planet, stay with us, because we are diving deep into the engineering, the strategy, and exactly why China and Russia are now scrambling to respond. Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss when we post next. Drop your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and share it so more people can know what is actually happening. This is the story nobody is telling. Right now, 45 B-1B Lancers are being completely rebuilt from the inside out. This is not a routine repair. This is one bomber being loaded with 40 advanced weapons on a single flight, more striking power than the entire air forces of most U.S. allies combined. While the world was busy arguing about fighter jets, China was racing to build hypersonic missiles, and Russia was working overtime hardening its defenses, completely unaware that the U.S. Air Force was quietly handing this forgotten bomber a weapons package that did not even exist 5 years ago. Now Beijing is calling it destabilizing. Moscow's military planners are rewriting their entire threat models. This is not just an upgrade. This is a complete reset of American air power. Here is the proof. Buried inside the Pentagon's 2024 budget, hidden between thousands of line items most people never read, is one entry that changes everything. B-1B Conventional Upgrade Program, $342 million. That is not a maintenance bill. That is not a repair contract. That is the U.S. military officially turning a Cold War nuclear bomber into the most heavily armed conventional strike aircraft flying anywhere on Earth today. They took a jet originally built to destroy the Soviet Union, a jet the entire world had written off, and taught it to fight every real war that exists right now. Now we will break down exactly how that happened, the engineering, the strategy, and why it matters far beyond any headline. If you believe retiring the B-1B would have been one of the biggest military mistakes in modern history, drop the bone in the comments right now. So what exactly did they give it? The B-1B can now carry the RASM, a sea-skimming, AI-guided anti-ship missile that flies 500 nautical miles and hugs the ocean surface so low that radar systems simply cannot catch it in time, and it launches from inside the aircraft, completely hidden until the moment it is already gone. Before this upgrade, the B-1B dropped bombs that needed to fly close to the target. Close meant visible. Visible meant vulnerable. Against modern Chinese and Russian air defenses, that was becoming a death sentence. Now, one aircraft carries up to 24 of these missiles and never enters the danger zone at all. Here is what that actually means in real terms. A single formation of 4 B-1Bs could theoretically target China's entire South Sea fleet, carriers, destroyers, frigates, before one radar on one ship even detects that the jets are airborne. No naval force on Earth was built to survive that. The B-1B was born in the 1970s inside the drawing rooms of Rockwell International. The mission was simple and terrifying. Fly into Soviet airspace at treetop level, faster than the speed of sound, and drop nuclear gravity bombs before anyone could stop it. President Carter canceled it in 1977. Cost overruns were killing the budget, and ICBMs launched from silos seemed cheaper and smarter. Then Ronald Reagan brought it back in 1981 as the B-1B Lancer, and by 1986 it was flying. 5 years later, the Cold War was over, and the entire reason this aircraft existed had simply vanished. But then something unexpected happened. Desert Fox, Allied force, enduring freedom, Iraqi freedom, the wars kept coming, and the B-1B kept showing up, dropping more total tonnage than any other aircraft in the entire U.S. Air Force across every one of those conflicts. Then came 2021. The Air Force announced it was cutting the fleet from 62 jets down to 45. It was a brutal public admission. This aircraft, as it was currently built, could not survive against China or Russia. Then someone in the Pentagon asked a different question. What if we don't send it into the fight? What if we send its weapons instead? The Pentagon had its answer. It had a name too. The Internal Weapons Bay Upgrade, ILBU. In plain English, tear out the old bomb bay and rebuild it completely. The original bay was designed for a different war. It carried unguided Cold War bombs on a spinning rotary launcher. But LRASMs, JASMs, and hypersonic missiles are longer, heavier, and need digital connections the old system could not provide. So the rotary launcher was removed. A universal smart rack went in its place, capable of carrying mixed weapons on a single flight. Engineers then installed a MIL STD-1160 data bus, the same digital language every modern smart weapon already speaks, and rewrote the mission computer on open software. Future weapons can now be added with an update, not a hardware rebuild. One engineer put it simply, they gave a 40-year-old airframe an iPhone operating system. Testing ran at Edwards Air Force Base from 2019 through 2023. Live RASM releases over the Pacific. It worked. The B-21 Raider is coming, but not until the 2030s. This upgrade fills that gap with striking power that exists right now. The Ibubu did not unlock one weapon. It unlocked an entire armory. The RASM flies 500 nautical miles, skims the ocean surface, and uses AI to find the most vulnerable point on a ship before striking it. No radar catches it in time. The JASMR carries a 1,000-pound warhead, 575 nautical miles, and destroys hardened land targets, bunkers, airfields, missile batteries, while the jet stays completely outside defended airspace. The RW is a hypersonic boost glide weapon capable of exceeding Mach 20. No intercept system on Earth can stop it at that speed. One aircraft, 3 weapon types, targets at sea, underground, and moving faster than anything ever built. That is more strike options than the combined air forces of Poland, Romania, and the Netherlands on a single jet. None of this happened without a reason. The threat drove everything. China spent 2 decades building a layered wall of missiles, fighters, and radar across the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait designed entirely to keep American aircraft out. It is working. F-35s and FCA She-18s reach 600 to 800 nautical miles. China's defense bubble past 1,000. There is a gap where American tactical air power cannot safely operate, and China built its entire strategy around it. The B-1B closes that gap. The jet stays outside the bubble. The missile does the work. In 2022, China conducted its largest live-fire exercises around Taiwan. Analysts noted that no U.S. tactical aircraft had a clean weapons solution at those ranges without the B-1B standoff stack. The B-21 Raider is coming, but each airframe costs an estimated $550 million. This upgrade costs a fraction of that and delivers capability right now. The world noticed. China's entire naval strategy was built around the DF-21D anti-ship missile, their asymmetric trump card against American carriers. The B-1B just found an asymmetric answer. Chinese defense analysts have publicly called the B-1B and a RASM combination a carrier killer's worst nightmare because it now threatens their carriers too. Russia has a different problem. The S-400 and S-500 were built to shoot down aircraft, not swarms of low-flying AI-guided missiles launched from beyond radar range. The JASM-ER targets the command nodes that hold Russian air defense together. Remove those first, and the whole system collapses. Then there are the allies. Japan and Australia both sit on the front line of any Pacific conflict. Australian forces have already trained alongside B-1B crews at Tyndall Air Base, 1,800 miles from the South China Sea. That is not coincidence. That is positioning. This is not finished. It is accelerating. LRASM integration was declared combat-ready in 2023. JASM-ER is already combat-coded. Our hypersonic integration is in active testing, projected 2025 to 2026. 2 programs are worth watching. The Haxiom is an air-breathing hypersonic cruise missile intended for B-1B carriage, making it the only bomber on Earth carrying both stealth and hypersonic missiles on the same flight. Collaborative combat aircraft, AI-controlled wingmen, would fly alongside it, extending sensor reach and complicating enemy targeting. The basing shifts say the rest. Rotational deployments to Guam, the United Kingdom, and Australia place the jet within LRASM range of every major flashpoint simultaneously. The bone is getting new teeth, sharper, longer, and more numerous than anyone outside the Pentagon expected. Here is the math: 45 aircraft, 24 LRASMs each. That is 1 080 anti-ship missiles deliverable in a single coordinated strike, launched from outside every known air defense envelope, flying weapons that did not even exist when this jet was supposed to be retired. That is more sea denial firepower than the entire U.S. Navy surface fleet can generate from its vertical launch systems, concentrated in one bomber force, one mission. The math is simple. The implications are enormous. If this video changed how you think about what old military hardware actually means, hit subscribe right now, because next week we are breaking down the B-21 Raider, why it costs $500 million per jet, what it can do that nothing else can, and whether it is actually worth it. The bone proved old does not mean obsolete. The question is whether its replacement can prove new means better. Drop 1080 in the comments if this just changed how you see air power. And if you think the B-1B should have been retired, tell us why. We will be reading everything, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on our next video.